this, I'm going to talk about economics. Definition of the scope of economics. And they say that it is derived from, say, two Greek words, oikos nomos. Oikos is home and nomos is management, and all of that. What is the historical survey? Just a little interesting notes that I had written so many years back. I don't even, of course, I attribute it to every my professors who gave us those notes, but I really don't know what's where, who said what. So, anyways, so this is what it is. I just written as I read. So, economics, was called political economy, and mostly economics formed a part of other subjects. For example, say logic, then psychology, politics, ethics. And also, since the time of Aristotle, who he wrote a book as Economica, and he described economics as a household management and stated how it was interested in acquiring, guarding, and making proper use of wealth. And also in Christian and medieval periods, Economica was made subsidiary to Christian morals. It began to be pleaded that wealth was not an end in itself, but only a method to secure more fundamental objective. That is, to do God's will and attain personal salvation was the primary aim of human life. That was the main aim. But yes, wealth helped in achieving all of that. I mean, once you're satisfied, it's only when your bellies are full you can think beyond that and talk about it. Otherwise, the only thing one can think is food, and food is God, for all that we know. So little attention was therefore paid to the study of economics by the writers of this period. Meanwhile, we have these what is known as mercantilists. Now, what are they? This was a name given to a system of economic thought that occupied a dominating position in Europe, particularly in France, in the 16th and 17th centuries. And these people were essentially a sort of practical businessmen, a group of practical businessmen and administrators and merchants who emphasized the importance of trade and foreign commerce as a means of achieving national economic sovereignty. So, thus mercantilism is a scheme to amass wealth. More gold, more wealth, more power was the slogan of that mercantilist era. So they were the leaders of economic thought. And right up from the time of Renaissance in Europe up to the time of Adam Smith, they believed that wealth was useful from the standpoint of the state, and consequently economics became a study of wealth from the angle of the state. Now, for example, the German mercantilist von Giusti, I can't even pronounce it properly in their tone anyways, he wrote that the great management of the state rests vitally upon the same rules which other management must observe. In both establishments, the ultimate purpose are to acquire means to assure what has been acquired, to use reasonably the goods that were possessed. Now, for example, the housekeeping of the state is merely of greater extent than that of a private person, which is much more rather. So there was another mercantilist, an Englishman, Sir James Stewart. He defined the subject matter as economy in general as the art of providing for all the wants of a family with prudence and frugality. So, like for example, what economy is in a family. political economy is in a state. And it was in the hands of Adam Smith and his distinguished followers, the classical school of economists, that economics now became a science, a recognized science of wealth. Now, Adam